Giants are human-like beings and are huge mythical creatures. They are known to be monstrous and savage creatures, and according to Greek poetry, they were the sons of earth and heaven. Their huge size is immediately linked with ideas of superhuman strength and abilities, but in most stories, they usually depict or play the tragic roles. They may be of Greek origin, but their folklores are loved by people from all around the globe. So here is a list of 10 mythical giants from across the world. Gogmagog, a 12-foot member of the tribe of giants who occupied Britain before the coming of Brutus. He is said to be the last giant in the British Isles. He was rough and strong and could even uproot an oak tree as if it were a twig. He attacked Brutus, a descendant of the Trojans of Greece and the settlers, killing many of them. Brutus saw his strength and told the avenging Britons to spare Gogmagog so that he could wrestle with Brutus's ally Carinus. Gogmagog broke 3 of Carinus' ribs but was defeated when Carinus threw him to his death off a cliff far out in the sea. Polyphemus. He was the son of the god Poseidon and Thoosa in Greek mythology. He dwelt in a cave on the island of Sicily with his fellow Cyclops, where he tended a flock of sheep. The great adventurer Odysseus landed on the island and entered his cave, and Polyphemus ate 4 of Odysseus' men. That's when he hatched up a plan to escape, where he introduced himself as no one and offered the giant wine till he passed out and drove a stake into the giant's only eye, blinding him. When he opened the cave in the morning to take his sheep grazing, Odysseus and his men escaped by tying themselves under the cattle. Hrungnir. He was a Jotun in Norse mythology. Hrungnir engaged in a wager with Odin, in which Odin stakes his head on his horse Sleipnir, being faster than Hrungnir's steed Gulfaxi. During the race, which Sleipnir wins, Hrungnir enters Valhalla. Feeling sorry for the loser, Odin invited Hrungnir for a drink and he becomes drunk and abusive. After they grow weary of his ignorance, the gods call on Thor to battle Hrungnir. He agreed and turned up clad in stone armor and carrying a giant whetstone as a weapon. Thor threw his thrusty hammer Hrungnir and it smashed through both the whetstone and Hrungnir's head, and the latter fell to his death. Gentle. They are a race of giants of the Basque mythology of France and Spain. They were savage and strong. They could throw enormous rocks very far and were believed to have created the Neolithic megaliths such as dolmens found around the Basque country. According to legend, the Gentle disappeared after a huge bright cloud appeared indicating the birth of Jesus. The frightened Gentle did not want change and ran down the mountains and hid in the dolmen, never to return. Olenziro was the only Gentle to survive. He was large and grumpy. He is said to have walked to the nearest village and cut the throat of all the greedy people who had eaten too much but was repackaged as a Basque version of Santa Claus. Baler. This giant is of Irish mythology. He was the leader of the Fomorians, a group of malevolent supernatural beings. Baler was a one-eyed giant who is often described as the eye that wreaks destruction when opened, and that whoever was caught in his gaze would die instantly. According to one tale, it was prophesied that Baler would be killed by his own grandson. Therefore, he imprisoned his daughter Ethlyn to prevent her from having any children. However, Sian, a minor god, snuck in and impregnated her, who gave birth to 3 sons. Baler had all his 3 grandsons thrown into the sea, but one survived and was named Luke, and the prophecy was fulfilled when Luke led a race of Irish gods into battle and killed Baler by ripping out his eye. Orion. He was of Greek mythology. Orion was a handsome giant and hunter, and also has a constellation known by his name. Some legends say he was the son of Poseidon and was associated with the island of Chios. where he fell in love with Merope, daughter of the king of Chios, who disapproved of Orion, but he tried to take Merope as his wife against the will of her father and was left blind. To regain his sight, he was led towards the east where the sun god dwelt, and as the sun rose, his sight was restored by the beams. He then went to Crete to live with Artemis as a hunter. Some say he was killed by a monstrous scorpion, while others say he was killed by Apollo of his jealousy over Artemis's love of Orion, and weeping over his loss, she had him placed in the sky amongst the stars as the constellation Orion. Oni. These are of Japanese folklores and are giants in the form of demons with great strength and fearful appearance. They are popular characters in Japanese art, literature and theatre, and most often their image leads to the expression of an Oni with an iron club to show that they are invincible or undefeatable. Though Oni have been depicted in various ways in Japanese art, they are characteristically thought of as pink, red or blue-grey in color, with horns, 3 toes, 3 fingers, and on occasion with 3 eyes, with a keenness for human flesh. Japanese people traditionally celebrate the Setsuban festival in the spring to drive out the Oni. In this festival, they throw soybeans in the air to ward off any lurking 3-fingered beasts. Atlas. He is also of Greek mythology. The Titan Atlas was known to be responsible for bearing the weight of the heavens on his shoulders, a burden given to him as punishment by Zeus. One of his famous quests was to find the golden apples of Hesperides. Atlas offered that he would go fetch the apples for Heracles only if he would take his place holding up the sky. Heracles took his place, and Atlas got the apples and was about to take them to Eurystheus just when Heracles asked if Atlas would mind just holding the sky again for a minute while he got comfortable. Atlas fell for the trick, and as soon as he had reshouldered his heavy burden, Heracles went off with the apples, leaving Atlas with his interminable duty. Kumbhakarna. This giant is from the Hindu mythology and is featured in the Ramayana. Despite his gigantic size and great appetite, he was described to be of good character and a great warrior of his times, though he killed and ate many monkeys only to show his power. The goddess Saraswati played a trick on him, who got his tongue tied so that when he tried to ask for a blessing, he asked for a bed instead, and as a result, he was doomed to sleep for 6 months of every year. After 6 months of deep sleep, he would wake up so hungry that he would consume anything in his path, including humans. One day, Kumbhakarna's brother Ravana asked him to join a battle against Prince Rama, but instead of achieving glory, he got rather drunk and blundered around the battlefield, doing more harm than good before being killed. Goliath, well known as the giant that was killed by David. The Philistines had come up to make war against Saul, and Goliath was a champion from the city of Gath, and this warrior came forth day by day to challenge to single combat. Only David ventured to respond, armed with the slingshot and pebbles, and with the fate of his people in his hands. He overcame Goliath by hitting him with a pebble right between his eyes, and he falls down dead. The Philistines, seeing their champion killed, lost heart and were easily put to flight. He then cut Goliath's head with his own giant sword, and it was his famous sword that David took with him in his fight from Saul. And with that, we have come to the end of the video. Thanks for watching and hope you liked it. Please do not forget to hit like and subscribe, and drop in your thoughts in the comment section below.